hello and welcome to the show, and welcome to a new series as I play through the Project Cars career mode. Now, there are multiple options of sort of goals you can try and obtain. You can try and go from karts all the way to the top tier, the LMP1 cars, or you can try and retain titles at the top, or go try and win 3 different championships in tier 2, I think it is. But I'm choosing to not go for any of those objectives at the moment. I like go-karts and everything, but if you give me a choice of what race series I want to start with, you can pretty much start wherever the hell you want. I'm going to go for the touring car stuff, and that means starting off with some Clio Cup cars. Now, you get a choice of teams that you can sign for. I had the option of Rockford, Rensport, or Valor Racing. Not really knowing very much. I went for Valor Racing, seeing as it was the English team. That's literally the only reason why I picked that one. You then come to a dashboard menu. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Formula 1 games, the MotoGP games, their sort of racing setup, racing careers, if you like. And I think it's a good menu system. It's a good sort of career mode, if you like. Then you have the various different days with things going on in different championships. You find the Clio Cup stuff, and that's where I was going to be taking part. Now you can go all through practice and qualifying, and then you go up into the races. There's other stuff going on this weekend as well, which doesn't bother me at all on that one. And after a fairly uneventful practice and qualifying session, I would find myself on pole for race 1. Didn't get off the line particularly well on this one. Yeah, it was a little bit slow getting away, and would find myself in second place as we go through the first turn. Now, the difficulty for this, I've set it to 85%. On some of the tracks that I know very well, such as this one, I should be quite fast, right? I did an overtaking challenge at Donington with the Clios. Great track for these cars. But on other tracks, it should be quite a challenge for me, places that I don't know quite as well. As everybody files through the old hairpin for the first time, I'm right on the bumper of the leader. That's the corner that I can carry an awful lot of speed through. I get my vehicle to the inside, but the leader is having none of it. I really didn't expect him to keep his car all the way around the outside of them corners, but he managed to make that move stick. I had to give him space on the inside, and he keeps the position. And then on some cold tyres, I get a very big slide. It's certainly noticeable with these cars that certainly the rear tyres on the first couple of laps, you will slide it around a little bit more. I wasn't too fussed though at finding myself in second. I knew I was very quick around this track, and I was putting more and more pressure on the leader. It's just about being patient, not making a silly manoeuvre. I mean, I could have had a big dive into turn 1 here, but I know I'm not that good through the first corner, and I didn't want to just sort of take the cars off and have to go across the gravel, and then I'd lose more positions. So I was just being patient, biding my time to find a good opportunity to get past, and certainly down the craner curves and into this old hairpin. That's where I'm the quickest. That's where I've got all of the speed. Unfortunately, this time I was just too close to the car in front. I couldn't carry the speed that I wanted to through the corner. I couldn't sweep around the outside to get the position. I'm still here looking, trying to find a way of pass, but the leader can go defensive into this turn, and well, it's kind of tough going all the way around the outside, and I've got to be careful because third place was pretty damn close behind as well. Unfortunately, disaster would strike. A strange malfunction with my steering wheel would see it just stop responding for like 5 seconds. The car veering off and bumping into the wall, but after bumping into the wall, the steering wheel would come back to working again, and I could get the car back on track after rescuing it from the gravel trap. Yeah, a peculiar glitch. I mean, I had the steering wheel turn off during the Assetto Corsa overtaking challenge I did a while back, and it just stopped responding completely. I had to reset everything to get that working. But this time, it just stopped responding for 5 seconds, and then we got going again. An unfortunate technical malfunction, dropping me all the way back to 16th place. You can see my teammate in the background there wasn't faring particularly well in this opening race. Yeah, a little bit of a shame, that one, having had a good battle at the front for the first few laps. Yeah, I'd got dumped to the back, and then we have another big slide through turn 1. And now it was like an overtaking challenge all over again, having to come from towards the back of the field. I managed to freak out an AI car to the point where it goes off the track. I'll take the position there. I didn't bump him, honestly. He just got a little bit scared of me trying to make a manoeuvre. Now I had to pretty much go for whatever overtaking spots that I could get. I had to just try and make up places as quickly as possible, because while it was a 10-lap race and this malfunction did happen, I think it was around lap 3 or 4 that it went off, I did still have a good number of laps to try and make progress. There's still a lot of cars to be getting past as I go up the inside of turn 1. May have given the black car a little bump and got a little bit on the grass, but I think it was like the only overtake I got done through the first corner. It's not my corner for getting overtakes on. This is where I much prefer trying to get the passes done here. As you can see, the car in front was a bit slow through the corner. Unfortunately, I couldn't quite get my vehicle to where I wanted to be. Again, I was that little bit too close at the wrong time through that corner. I got myself in a bit of trouble. Fortunately, I had so much speed I could make it all the way around the outside down here. That would put me on the inside for the next turn. With a little bit of a run across the curb, I could get the Clio up the inside. Got to be careful not to do anything too stupid up here. They do like to have a bit of a sniff up the inside, but fortunately I was just about far enough ahead. And again, I carried on with doing largely similar manoeuvres on these vehicles. Coming down the crane of curbs, I could just carry the speed that the other vehicles were not quite brave enough to carry too wide down there. With these cars, you are flat out down that section once the tyres have warmed up. Certainly on the first laps it can be a little bit skatey down there if you try and do it flat out, but by this time, yeah, it's easy flat out in these cars, but going too wide down there can be quite scary. And again, I get another overtake on the way out of the old hairpin to move up another position. I was certainly seeing plenty of action at Donington Park. Now, when I set up the career, I'm pretty sure I selected my preferred number as 21. I guess if there's a driver already with that number in a championship, you can't have it, as I slightly bumped my way past the 21 Clio as we came into the chicane. I'm quite quick through the chicane as well. I thought it was going to leave a bit of a gap on the inside that I sort of had a go at getting up the inside. It didn't quite work as cleanly as I'd like, but we all made it out the other side relatively okay. Then I was very fortunate as the group of vehicles in front all slowed each other down. The car at the front of this train was had a bit of a botched up corner, and then the other two vehicles were so close they couldn't go anywhere. Everybody was all slow through the corner, and I swept past all three of them, it was very useful. It's nice when they all do that sort of thing for me, let me get lots and lots of positions. It was also helpful that on the most part the field was still pretty close together. The cars were sort of having a look at coming back up the inside of me. He then was a little bit compromised when he realised he couldn't get that position. They're side by side and pushing each other out onto the grass. Behind me there was an almighty tussle as we come down this back straight. I've just got that little bit of leeway to the cars behind as we all come into the chicane. This is the 21 cars having a look up the inside. Everybody's across the curbs and a little bit of off-track action, but they all made it through without having a big accident. And as we came on to the final lap, I was ranging up to the back of 4th place, which that's not too bad considering I was down in 16th, and sure enough it was a similar overtake to the ones that I had made all day. He did keep his car around the outside for a little while. I was just far enough ahead to make sure that I get turned in for the next corner. I love how these Clios are tripoding their way around the corners when you really push it. They're very cool cars to drive. They're absolutely lovely racing vehicles. And while I thought I was fairly good on the run onto the back straight, the car behind got even more speed. They was really very, very fast on this final lap. He was throwing caution to the wind, trying to get back past me, and of course sat in the slipstream. He was thinking about it. I made sure to give him space on the inside if he did go and do anything stupid. Not quite close enough. He wasn't far away though from having a go at that position, which means that I would go on to take a 4th place in not quite the race I'd hoped, but still, that's not too bad considering I've been dumped back into 16th. The top 3 were actually all pretty close on track, only covered by 1.2 seconds. Yeah, a little bit of a shame for me, but I did still manage to recover, and it's a good thing that's happened at a track that I like. With that sort of malfunction, meant that yeah, I could drive quite quickly once I got it back on the track. My teammates, I was trying to find where he was, didn't fare quite so well in this first race, all the way down in 20th place. Yeah, not such a good race for Valor Racing, but still, you know, not too bad. And for the second race, I again starting from pole and didn't really get the car off the line particularly well. It was better than the first time though. As we come up towards turn 1, it was side by side. I managed to keep my car on the inside. It's 3 wide at one point as the white car just escapes to the track. Often with turn 1, the AIs don't like running a bit wide through there. They tend, if they start going a bit wide, they tend to panic and go across the dirt, so they end up very wide through there. I then get things wrong into the old hairpin, trying to carry a bit too much speed, lock the brakes, and end up in the back of the white and orange car, and that promptly drops me down into third place as the green vehicle gets himself past. Still pretty quick on my way through these corners, seeing if I can have a look. Green car goes a little defensive. It does end up a bit wide on the exit. I get my vehicle to the inside just about, but this is not a corner that I really like doing overtaking maneuvers on, and I'm not really far enough alongside to have a sensible look. The green car destroys one of the braking boards on the outside. There's a grey vehicle with a wheel on the grass that gets a bit dragged out wide, and he's still on the grass out there, and I'm a bit slow onto this back straight, which is yeah, not ideal. A little bit too far back to be trying anything in towards the chicane. And we have another mighty Clio train at Donington as we all file. It's pretty much all single file. There's a little bit of fighting going on further back. It was pretty much all single file down this back straight. I am close to second place as we head across the start finish line, but as I said, I'm not that good into turn 1. I go to the outside trying to get a good run through this first corner. I'd rather focus on getting a good run out of this turn than sort of being trying to outbrake them into the first corner. Also, I mean, if you end up going up the inside, you do take quite a tight line, and you can often be slow around these next bits. So I'm just focusing on being quick down here, and sure enough, I'm still right on the back of the car ahead. And as we come into the old hairpin, you've guessed what I might be trying to do. It's around the outside, a wheel just across the curb, and sure enough, I can get the position and move myself back up into second place, and the leader is right there just in front of me. So yeah, not the ideal start, but still I've managed to make the most of it. This race we would have the addition of having a required pit stop, and not quite knowing how it works. My mechanic shouted at me to come in for a mandatory pit stop, so I obliged. On lap 3, I think it was, I had dived in, not quite sure how it worked. Yeah, the game sort of sorted me out on my way into the pits. May have carried a bit too much speed. But again, more disaster would strike as we had a wheel gun jammed, so I had a very slow pit stop, just sitting here and waiting and losing time. It wasn't good. Occasionally these things can happen when you're having pit stops in project cars. Yeah, I lost lots of time yet again. I mean, you saw how bigger a gap it was between me and there was another car that dived in the pits on this particular lap. And by the time we leave the pits, that car is pretty much leaving at the same time as me. So I lost another huge chunk of time in the pit lane there. You can see the car just about setting off as I leave. And yeah, having come into the pits from second place as the rest of the cars made their mandatory pit stops, you can see that I had yeah, lost some ground. Also the cloud, it was starting to cloud over. I was a little bit concerned that we may end up seeing rain by the end of this race. It was starting to look pretty dreary. There's an AI very wide, and I had absolutely nothing to do with that one. However, again, I am quick at Donington Park, so I could try and make up some positions. Again, similar manoeuvre as ever, especially with cars that have just got onto some colder tyres. That's a fairly straightforward pass for me to make up. You can see the orange car there that just went past shot. I hadn't lost quite as much time in the little pit lane mistake, but it's still technical gremlins in this first round of the championship. I was then ranging up on the back of the white and green car, trying to see if I could find a way past. Of course, with various cars coming in and out of the pits, it would take a while for the field to sort of all sort out its order, because you're never quite sure what position you're in with regards to what cars have pitted and what cars haven't. Again, I'm trying the same manoeuvre. Stay wise, stay sort of neat and tidy through turn 1, and then we'll worry about getting a good run down this corner. And as I said, I'm closer to the lead groups. That orange car and the grey vehicle ahead. This was essentially for third place in the race. Once we all sorted or roughly for third place, was the order all sorted itself out. I was a little bit close to the green vehicle on the way through here. Couldn't quite carry as much speed as I wanted to, but I could carry enough. squeeze my car up the inside. He would get a bit scared and again end up out on the... There was much dirt being kicked up on the outside of that corner. I'm tripoding a little bit. I just outbraked myself. Ran a bit wide. Was a little bit slow through the corner. Replay goes a little bit glitchy at this particular point. I then, without really paying a huge amount of attention, I didn't think he was going to have a go up the inside. He came from nowhere, and I promptly lost the position back to the green vehicle. I said I struggled through there. I was just a little bit slower than normal, and there was space that he fired his car up the inside. A good overtake from him. I then may have outbraked myself a tiny little bit on the way into the chicane. Gave him a bumper. Once the two cars were sort of locked together, bumper to bumper, neither of us could stop or turn. We both ended up causing problems, although the green vehicle kind of got away with that one as well. Could just skate across the grass. The clouds were still looking quite ominous as we came towards the end of the race. A white car that I hadn't seen around in the race before obviously had made up some good time and made a decent pit stop and was now ahead of me. Again, trying to find a way past as we come down. My favourite section of the track. I mean, the vehicles behind weren't that far behind either, and we're going to go for one of many overtakes of a very similar nature through here. Just get that drive on the exit. You can stick a wheel on the dirt, doesn't matter. And again, another wheel on the dirt that side. He's doing the same thing on the outside over there. You can still just about see the white and orange car at the front. They hadn't quite scampered away as far as they had in the first race. They weren't quite as close either, the front group of vehicles. And now I'm back right on the tail of I think it was the number 6 car. The white vehicle behind. He tried to be a bit brave through that corner, tried to carry the speed. He promptly made a mistake, went skating off towards the wall that I had found in the first race. And as we came towards the end of this one, this battle was now over the 4th place. Yet again, my favourite of the positions, it seems, at Donington Park. And sure enough, with a wheel on the dirt, I was managed to scoot around the outside. Yeah, it was gradually getting in darker and darker with clouds here. I was quite concerned we were going to see some rain by the end. Again, we're on a little bit wide. Both times I got past that car, I did exactly the same thing on the next corner, just running that bit wide. He wasn't close enough, though, thankfully, to have a go up the inside, and in the end, he just carried a bit too much speed. He was having a look. He couldn't quite get it stopped in time. Ended up out a little bit wide and some more dirt being kicked up by the Clio. And while you can see the vehicles ahead, I would yet again run out of laps to do anything about getting on the podium. Yeah, I was closer this time round, but again, more technical problems would scupper my poor car, as I would claim my second 4th place at Donington Park. I'm quite glad that these technical problems did happen on a track that I'm quick around, though, because I could manage to recover and make my way to a second 4th place. The top 3 were the same cars from race 1 in a slightly different order. Up there I go having a look for my teammate again. He did a bit better. He got up into 19th place. Yeah, not the most successful weekend for Valor Racing, but still a couple of 4th places in my first race of the championship. Can't complain too much. I was fastest in pretty much everything. 118 in practice, 117 in qualifying, 18 and 18 in both of the races. I do quite like the little podium display thing that comes up as well. Yeah, little disappointment from Donington, but I am 4th place in the championship, not too far away from the leaders, and as I said, it could have been a hell of a lot worse with all the technical problems that befell me on this particular track. Anyway, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.